Module 3 Solid Waste. In this portion, we'll be studying the classification and sources of solid waste. So, what is solid waste? We know that human and animals generate many solid waste. So, these waste should be disposed of because they cause landscape pollution. Now, let's see a definition for solid waste. Solid waste are the waste arising from human and animal activities that are normally solid and are discarded as useless or unwanted. So solid waste means any garbage or refuse or sludge from a wastewater treatment plant or water supply treatment plant and other discarded materials which include solid, liquid, it can be semi-solid or contained gaseous material. It is all resulting from industrial, commercial or mining and agricultural operations. In simple words, solid waste are any discarded or abandoned materials. Okay, now let's see the sources of solid waste. This is a list showing the sources of solid waste. First one is domestic areas. Here, usually the waste is generated as a result of ordinary day-to-day activities. Okay, then next one is markets. Majority of the portion under this markets or the solid waste under markets comes from food residues. Then it can also include paper waste, plastics, then textiles, then wood waste, rubber, then non-combustibles, etc. Then the third one is warehouses. So warehouses are usually commercial buildings and are used for storing goods. So the waste generated from these warehouses. Then agency premises. So agency premises which are surroundings that are owned by a particular agency. So they generate lot of waste and dump in that area. Then slaughter areas. Slaughter areas they usually produce inedible parts of animals as a solid waste. Inedible parts of animals which are blood or feather and other animal byproducts. Okay, so all these waste comes under the slaughter area solid waste. Then institutions. So institutional related solid waste include paper and mostly electronic waste. Okay, then next is farms. So farms can produce solid waste like manure, plastics, food waste, etc. Then food stores. In food stores, you could see commonly out of date foods are the main source of solid waste here. Then coming to food distribution areas. So in food distribution areas can also produce solid waste like edibles, then and carry bags, etc. Then industries. Industries includes mills, mining, etc. They can produce hazardous as well as non-hazardous waste. And medical centers. It can be hospital waste, healthcare waste, etc. Next is the classification of solid waste. Solid waste are usually divided into two based on source and based on type. Now, coming to based on source. So, based on source, the solid waste are divided into seven broad categories, which are first one is residential waste. These are basically waste generated from dwellings or apartment buildings. Okay, and it consists of leftover food materials, then vegetable peels, plastics, clothes, ashes, etc. Second one is commercial solid waste. So this type of waste includes leftover food, glass materials, metals, ashes, and are generated from stores, restaurants, then markets, hotels, motels, auto repair shops, medical facilities, etc. And third one is institutional related solid waste. It can be the waste generated from educational, administrative, and public buildings such as schools, colleges, offices, prisons, etc. And the waste can include plastic, then paper, glasses, all these kinds of waste. Okay. Then the fourth one is municipal waste. So these waste are various municipal are generated from various municipal activities like construction, demolition, street cleaning, landscaping, etc. So the waste under this can include dust particles, leafy matters, then building debris, waste materials. Okay. And you might have heard of water treatment plants. So the residues, the sludge which are coming out from the treatment plants can also be included in this municipal related waste. The next is the industrial waste. Industrial waste are generated due to industrial activities. It can include waste like ashes, demolition and construction waste, then hazardous waste, etc. Then sixth one is agricultural waste. These are the waste generated from fields, orchards, vineyards, farms, etc. Orchards are land which are planted with fruit trees, and vineyards, it is a plantation of grape bearing wines. So these agricultural waste can include spoiled food grains, vegetable waste, then agricultural remains, etc. And last one is open areas. So these includes waste from areas such as streets, alleys, parks, vacant lots, playgrounds, beaches, highways, recreational areas, etc. So in all these places, people used to litter all the waste materials or solid waste materials, and it gets accumulated in that particular area. Now, based on type, the first one is garbage. So it refers to animal and vegetable waste which are resulting from handling, sale, storage, preparation, cooking, and serving of food. So this garbage consists of waste which contains rotting organic matter, and these rotting organic matters produces obnoxious odor, and it even attracts some kinds of vermins and even rats. So it is you should be very careful while handling this kind of garbage materials. Second one is ashes and residues. So these are substances remaining from burning of wood, coal, charcoal, coke, and other combustible materials for cooking and heating in houses, institutions, and small industrial establishments. So these waste generated in our residential areas are comparatively very small. If it is producing in a very large quantity, then it is treated as industrial waste. Next is combustible and non-combustible waste. So this consists of waste generated from households, institutions, commercial activities, etc., excluding the food waste and other highly putrescible material. Putrescible is or the material which produce rotten smell. So the combustible materials can include paper waste, rubber, textile waste, then the trimmings from or the waste generated from garden areas, etc. And the non-combustible waste can include glass, crockery materials, then tin, cans, then ferrous and non-ferrous material, dirt, etc. Then comes the bulky waste. So these include large household appliances such as refrigerators, washing machines, furniture, crates, vehicle parts, tires, wood, trees, and branches. So these crates are cases which can be wooden or even plastic cases or boxes which are used for transporting and storing goods. Next are street waste. So these waste are collected from streets, walkways, alleys. Alleys are small, short paths. Okay. Then parks and vacant plots, and it includes paper, cardboard, plastics, dirt, leaves, and other vegetable matters. So special attention is needed in order to clear these garbages from the streets. Next is biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. So here the term itself defines the ability of the substances which are degradable or not. I'll tell you the difference between biodegradable and non-biodegradable substances. Biodegradable substances are those that degrades or break down naturally, and non-biodegradable waste or substances are those that do not degrade easily, and the examples for both are given here. Biodegradable waste includes leftover food, vegetable and fruit peels, paper, textile, wood, etc. And non-biodegradable waste includes inorganic and recyclable materials such as plastic, glass, cans, metals, etc. Next are the waste materials from dead animals. So dead animals are those that die naturally or are accidentally killed on the road. So this category does not include carcasses and animal parts from slaughterhouses, which are regarded as industrial waste. So the slaughterhouse waste are generally referred as industrial waste, but the dead animals which are either dead and seen on roads, or if it is accidentally killed, then that category is called dead animal solid waste. Now, these dead animals are divided into two groups, large animals and small. The large animals can include horses, cows, goat, sheep, pig, etc. And the smaller one can be like dogs, cats, rabbit, etc. So under municipal waste, the dead animals are divided into two, large and small. This differentiation is mainly because the larger animals, they need special equipment for lifting and handling when they are dead, and because if we are not handling it properly, it can pose a great threat to public health, and they also attract flies and other vermins as they decompose. Next are abandoned vehicles. This includes automobiles, trucks, and trailers that are abandoned on streets and other public places. So these vehicles are abandoned either because it becomes useless, or in other ways, it is abandoned and illegally dumped in the environment. Next are construction and demolition waste. So these are the waste generated as a result of construction, refurbishment, repair, and demolition of houses, commercial buildings, and other structures. So the waste materials generated by these activities can include concrete materials, stones, bricks, then earth material, roofing and plumbing material, etc. Next are farm waste. So these waste are generated as a result of agricultural activities like planting, harvesting, production of milk, rearing of animals for slaughter, and operation of feedlots. Feedlots are a type of animal feeding operation which is used in intensive animal farming. And the disposal of such animal waste has become a critical problem in many of the areas. Next are hazardous waste. So these waste like radioactive waste, then toxic chemicals, flammable waste, explosives, then hazardous biological waste from hospitals or research institutions, etc., are potentially dangerous either immediately or over a period of time to human beings and the environment. Suitable management practices are to be followed while storing, collecting, transporting, and disposing these kind of hazardous materials, and it is preferably done after making it harmless. And the last one is sewage waste. So the solid byproducts of sewage treatment are called as sewage waste. We know what is sewage treatment. It is a process of removing contaminants from municipal wastewater containing mainly household sewage plus some industrial wastewater. So physical, chemical, and biological processes are used to remove the contaminants and produce treated wastewater, or this treated effluent that is safe enough to release into the environment. So this byproduct of a sewage treatment is a semi-solid waste, or we call it as a slurry, and this is called the sewage sludge. So this sludge has to undergo further treatment before being suitable for disposal into the ground or anywhere. So these are the classification and sources of solid waste.